Welcome to the Big BoneYard. Enter at your own risk.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
Hey, what is up, America? America! What's up? Hey, welcome to another episode of the Big BoneYard. You got myself, on man with a plan. No, wait, I think Tate's the man with a plan, but I'll just say, hey, so you got myself, Big Bone 1%. But wait, there's more. We got my man Tate from A-Bait. A-Bait Tate, what's up, man? Oh no. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, can you hear us now?
I can speak now.
Okay.
I'm no longer
Just
censored.
hold on, wait. The whole thing. My man Tate from A-Bait. Hold on.
What's up?
We did all of that. It was great. You missed the whole thing. It was like all of them people. Hey, Carney's Ride. What's up, Carney's Ride? All right, that's what's up. But yeah, man, how you doing, Tate?
Dude, it has been one crazy month for me. So a couple weeks,
a little bit.
Well, yeah. A couple weeks ago, I went to one of the local A-Bait chapters. Well, not really local for me. I'm a ways away from them. But on the East Coast of Florida, to a motorcycle accident scene readiness program per se, kind of like a golden hour type thing.
Right.
So we could get certified to at least keep the rider stable until EMS shows up. Trying to, get the right information, make sure they don't go anywhere, just to make sure we can try to keep more of us alive. And
the
then
guy that did that, let me I forget his name. Is he a warlock or what club? He's with a club.
I'm not sure.
No, Sons of Silence. I think he's Sons of Silence, I think. But I forgot his name. But he was actually on the show. And man, forgive me if you're watching, please forgive me. But he was on a show. It was excellent. It was a really good show. He covered a lot of good info. But that's critical though, man. What if anything did you learn?
First of all, don't ever remove anybody's helmet. Second of all, try to keep their neck stable. I know they no longer do CPR. The chest compressions, that's a thing of the past. It's all rescue breathing now.
Okay.
Which to me was kind of surprising, but hey, whatever. Whatever EMS thinks is appropriate, that's what we'll do. And then this past weekend, actually, I just got back. It's 8:55 my time. So about 2.5 hours ago, I just got back from this year's what was it? The MRF's Meeting of the Minds. If you have never been to a Meeting of the Minds, I'm telling you, you need to go. Shout out to Hardtail with the MRF. Your guys did a great job with seminars. Shout out to Brick Lindsay, the president of Louisiana ABATE. Hell yeah, amazing seminars, great hospitality. Dude, I couldn't have been happier. You're muted, brother.
Oh, there you go. Hey, so I think what you're saying to us is that you really hated your time in Louisiana and you never want to go again. Is that
Oh,
what?
hell no, bro. Um, One of Brick's members actually made this dip and it had like shrimp and crawfish in it. Oh boy, you know this southern boy loves his crawfish. But that was some of the
Right.
best dip I've ever had.
Oh
Um,
yeah, they do
hard
some good
hardtail.
stuff down there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, hardtail brought something out of up north where he's from. It was a little weird for me. Now I've drank a lot of questionable things, and I've drank out of a lot of questionable objects, gas cans, things that look like hairspray cans. I've drank a lot of
Yeah.
weird shit. I have never seen anybody do shots out of ashtrays. It was
Yeah.
beer in one side and root beer schnapps in the other. And when
Yeah.
I
That's
tell you this shit tasted like them little candy root beer barrels,
yeah.
oh my god.
I don't know. That sounds like some WPS to me. But, hey, cut to the chase. What is up? Cut. Switch. All right. Everybody. All right. The gang's all here. That's what's up.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
by the way, while y'all are there, everybody that's here, take a minute for us and like, subscribe, but most definitely share wherever you're watching this from. Share it with somebody. You know, sharing is caring. So y'all can do that part. Sharing is caring.
Hey, and while y'all are doing that, let me get something out of the way. Remember, the thoughts, comments, questions we answer, how we answer the questions, all that, anything we say or do is the thoughts of us and us alone. They don't represent our specific clubs or organizations that we represent.
Very
So
well said.
keep
Very
that
well
out
said.
there.
Right? Our opinions are our opinions only. No, that's cool. But yeah, so me, oh man, I can't even lie. The past, hmm, I'd say realistically, the past month, I've been pounding the ground. Uh, I lost, or not I, but we lost a really good brother in our nation. So his name was Mr. Guts, one percenter. Uh, he was a solid brother, real solid brother. He's going to be greatly missed. Um, and you know, the memorial, the funeral, the memorial. So I want to say thank you to everybody that came out to show me and my brothers from Outcast. Y'all showed us a lot of love. We appreciate it.
Can
And
I say something on Guts 1%?
yeah, please.
So, first time I ever went to an Outcast clubhouse was for your birthday, AB's birthday, and his lifer party.
Mhm.
Guts 1% was the first person other than you, AB, in Miami to come up to me and talk to me. And that was the first Outcast member to ever give me his business card. His business card will stay in my cut for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. And look, that does my heart good. Not to mention the fact those business cards. You might have noticed something about those business cards. So my business cards are very unique. For those of y'all that have them, y'all already know they're very unique. And the only person that has anything that looks like it is or was Mr. Guts. And that's because I actually had mine, or I had his design for him to look exactly like mine were. So that was one of many little things that we shared. I was his pops. Anyway, let's change the subject because I don't want to get y'all to crying and carrying on around here. But hey, once again, though, shout out to Mr. Guts. May you rest in peace, brother. I know, you know, he went doing the thing that he loved. So much love and respect to him and his family. So tonight's show, this is pretty interesting just because uh, the subject always comes up. I mean, it comes up a lot. And so we wanted to kind of delve into this one percenter shit, you know, this dominant club stuff. There's a lot of misinformation about what this all is about. But I'll tell you the way we wrote it down. Let me see if I can find. So tonight's show is called the real outlaw biker, fact versus fiction. And this is when we say outlaw biker, we're talking about dominant clubs, all right? And and it's not the clubs and the members, to be real specific. So here's the description. So is it this, which it's 3 a.m. You and all 153 of your brothers, that's all 153. See, anyway, it's 3 a.m. You and all 153 of your brothers are riding down the highway at 100 miles per hour. Your hair's on fire. Every one of you is geeked up on the Columbian Marching powder, and you can't wait to get to the next stop so you can chase some chicks, raise some hell, and get higher than Trump's tariffs on China. Right? There's that. Or, right, hear me out. Or is it this? It's 3 a.m. You and 15 of your brothers are tearing up the highway, trying to make it home from the mandatory funeral that was 2 states away that you had to do, this weekend. So this weekend really kicked y'all's butts because of the charity run that you did on Saturday morning before you had to go to the out-of-state funeral. But it's okay, though, because together y'all raised over $10,000 for a bunch of kids that you'll probably never meet. So which of those things sounds like that your local 1%er that's always saying they always seem like they want your support, support your local this, support your local that, right? So let's find out tonight. We're going to chop it up a little something about all of that stuff tonight, right? So that's what we're talking about. So Carney's right, said Dark Soul. What's up with Dark Soul? Oh, Dark Soul in the house. Okay. What's up, Dark Soul? Okay.
We got a lot of people in here tonight.
Yeah, okay. That's what's up. But hey, look, so here's the thing. So to just put it in a little bit of perspective, when we're talking about dominant, so just to qualify this, there is a ton of motorcycle clubs. Everybody knows that, right? And you got different types of clubs. There's motorcycle ministries, like what we say, the God Squad or God clubs, right? They work under their protocol is a little different for them because they're out here to serve God or or Jesus or Buddha or whatever. Those are religious MCs. So yes, they understand protocol, but certain things are a little bit different for them. It's a little lighter situation, so to speak, for lack of a better way to put it, right? Then there's like the mom and pop clubs, it's just everybody's a cousin. They're not claiming territory. They have some bomb ass barbecues all the time. That's a different situation, right?
We still like those though. We love barbecue.
Yeah, everybody on. There's a place for everybody on 2 wheels, on the set, right? Hey, Heather Moe, what's up, Heather? Good to see you, woman. Right on. But so you got the motorcycle ministries, you got the family club, mom and pop type of club. Then you have if we step it up a little something, you got RCs, a riding club. Riding clubs have protocol as well, but riding clubs aren't claiming territory. They're not raising a whole lot of hell. They're bikers just doing biker shit. Nothing wrong with that. Then you got Masonic clubs. There's a number of Masonic clubs, a lot of solid clubs. They know protocol. Some of them adhere to protocol better than anybody because they come from an environment that encourages that, right? Then you got MCs, and there's a umpteen different varieties of what we call an MC now. There's WMCs or, like female MCs that are all females. That's actually a thing. Sometimes they'll have an MC. Sometimes they have motorcycle club written out. The proper protocol is that motorcycle club, if it's an all female club, motorcycle club is supposed to be written out. We'll get into that another time. Then of course, so those are MCs. Then you have OMCs and support clubs. What's OMC? Well, that's an outlaw motorcycle club. Doesn't necessarily mean they're a dominant club, but they are outlaw motorcycle club, which means they're a very traditional club doing traditional stuff, and they're closer to being a dominant than they are to being a riding club, for lack of a better way to put it, right? Then of course, so MCs, OMCs, and then, well, who's at the top of the heap? That would be the us guys, those guys that wear the jewelry, the diamonds, the 1%ers. We know who all of them are. You gotta, if you ever watched one of them documentaries about motorcycle riders on Gangland or something, that might be a version of a dominant club depending on where you're talking about and all that kind of stuff, right? So, and it don't mean. And by the way, gangland, half of that is BS. But anyway, I'm doing a lot with my hands tonight, right? I forgot. I'm
You
on.
always talk with your hands, though. I'm used to it.
Right? Yeah. I'm going to try not to drive everybody crazy with that. But anyway, so that's what we're talking about tonight. There's these dominant clubs, and the dominant clubs, they seem to be the one that kind of set the pace. They give a little instruction here and there, but this is where it gets a little confusing, the fact versus the fiction. So, hey, we was talking about this a little earlier. So, dominant club, what do you think the rest of the planet who don't know nothing about nothing, what do you think they think what a dominant club is?
I think, and the reason I think this is because of recent things that have come out that have been publicized and put out in the public, and that's that people see dominant clubs, diamond holders, as out there running guns, running drugs, tearing up the town, always raising hell, causing an issue. You go into a bar, you see a diamond holder, there's guaranteed to be a fight. I personally think that's how the civilian world views diamond clubs. I can't really speak for them because I've, in my years riding.
Well, let's do it like this. Give me, tell me the fiction. Like if you was to tell the story, like I'll do it. All right, check this out. So the fiction, dominant club. Well, if you ever seen, this is me doing my citizen thing. Well, I'm going to explain to you what a dominant 1%er club is. So first of all, in order to join the club, you have to murder 3 or 4 people. That's a rule. That's a hard rule. It's never going to change. Okay. Dominant club, you're the guys. You beat up a lot of people, usually on Thursdays. Sometimes because Saturdays you're drinking, so you try to get your ass beaten. You do all of your ass beating on Thursdays. That's a thing. That's what happens. Everybody watching this knows, if you're hearing the sound of my voice, you know that that's true. So be aware of your local 1%er outlaw club, because that's what they do. Right?
Oh, you want me to talk like gangland? Gotcha.
No, right. So that's the idea of, I mean, it's all kinds of different. Look, and I tease and joke about it, but in real life, here's the thing. The dominant clubs, there's people in dominant clubs. And look, if y'all watching, make sure you share this show. Share it with somebody who's in this lifestyle and see what they tell you. There's people in this lifestyle. There's people in those clubs, not a lot, but it comes up. There's people in the clubs who don't actually know what the real deal. They don't know the function of the club, right? So who the dominant clubs are, we check that box. We're talking about the dominant 1%er clubs, and if you're not familiar with what that means, and we'll get into that another time. We're talking about the dominant clubs, the club who you're in their area. Like if you're trying to set up a new club, you got to check in with them. If you are trying to get blessed, you've been around for a while, your chapter wants to move into their area, you got to check with those guys. They're the ones that set the pace. They make the rules. That's what the dominant club is. But what do they do? What do they do? Are they just, like we were teasing and joking about, running and gunning and all like that? Or is it more like, hey, they're the ones who try to keep the BS to the minimum so that people so that people can enjoy this lifestyle, so that this group don't get into it with that group. And I'm not saying that these guys are, I'm not saying we're walking on water and turning water into wine and all like this. It's bikers, so bikers get into some biker stuff. But guess what? If you have a strong dominant in your area, everybody has a better time. It's just true. So there's guys in those clubs who think that their function is to go around and bully people and smack folks around and cuss them out and be a bunch of tough guys.
Well,
People really think that.
We all got access to the internet now. Everybody knows that all dominant clubs do is drink, do drugs, ride around, cause a ruckus, no matter where they're at, no matter what they feel like they should be doing. Mm-hmm. You know, they all hate each other. Nobody gets along.
Right.
They share their women. They hate their families. That's why they're never around. You know, they don't do anything for the community. God forbid they do something for their own community.
Right.
You have to be a criminal to be in a dominant club.
Oh yeah, everybody knows that.
Right? Right. I mean, if you haven't done at least
absolutely.
15 years in prison, you can't be a diamond holder.
Yeah, that's on the application that you do. You have to put your prison number at the top left corner of the application. But look, again, we're teasing about all this stuff. Here's what's really up though. So the dominant clubs, the actual function of the dominant clubs is it's some big brother stuff for real. I'm not even joking. When I say big brother, what I'm talking about is you are giving guidance to, hey, it's Miami. You're giving guidance to a number of the clubs on the set. Sometimes you settle disputes. Sometimes you are there to back up the community. And when I say back up, I don't mean somebody's pushing around something. I'm not talking about I mean back them up. Like somebody's doing an event, and you can roll through with your chapter and make the difference for them making some money and not making some money. You can make a difference if this a certain club is going out of town and they're going through an area where nobody knows them. Hey, now they got somebody to call in case there's a problem or a bit of confusion or something like that. So it really is more of a big brother kind of we're here to guide you. Now, in some places, there's some dominants who get confused and they think that this diamond, this jewelry means that I get to have all the girls. And, and this, a lot of young cats who don't know what's up. That's why it takes a while to become a member of a dominant club. Like it's not sign here and in 30 days, we're going to mail these patches to you so you'll get them at FedEx or something. No, you got to put some time in. That's what helps you get to that level. In most cases, as you come into that club, you've already got to have certain attributes anyway from the giddy up for you even to be considered to go into one of those clubs. It's a lot different. I know guys who joined some 99 clubs and they probated either not at all or maybe 2 weeks, a month, something like that. And now they got a full patch and don't know jack about the biker community or the set or none of that. They don't have too many requirements, right? With us, we got more rules in the Constitution. And a big part of what we do nowadays is trying to keep the community sound and solid and whole. So we're more likely in real life, dominant club is more likely to be a benefit to the community than a hindrance to the community. And that's just a fact. Don't get me wrong. Stuff happens with anybody, right? So a 1% club is not a criminal organization. It's an organization that might have 1 or 2 criminals in it. Sounds like I'm talking about the U.S. Congress, right? Or the Boy Scouts or the Vatican.
I would say a dominant club is like any other organization that's out there. Even the Masonic clubs.
Yeah, sure.
There's good and bad in both. There's been a lot of issues going on recently throughout at least our country that I've noticed.
What's up, Memphis?
Hey, Memphis. Where speaking of Masonic clubs, where everybody's like, oh well, this group over here, like a couple years ago, Black Lives Matter. That movement, yes, there was some individuals in that movement that were going a little too far, but the movement as a whole had a proper agenda, and their agenda was, hey, we matter too. Just like with the dominant clubs.
A big thing that I found a lot of that was happening. Oh shoot, I forgot. I'm not even on the thing. I realized that a lot of the BLM stuff, a lot of the headaches and ruckus that happened wasn't actually BLM at all, because BLM is a movement and a mindset and like that. But a lot of the folks who were raising hell went out there specifically to raise hell. And they weren't a bunch of these black folks who were upset about what happened to Trayvon Martin or nothing like that. It was groups from, people from Antifa who wanted to raise some hell to get attention for whatever their reason was. So BLM was not as a lot of folks on, I don't want to get too political, but
Yeah.
a lot of folks on the right wanted to paint that picture, you know, and it's real weird because, you know, little political. So the folks that are okay with what's that guy's name? George Zimmerman
Yeah.
signing bags of Skittles. They're okay with that. And when that boy, what's that boy's name? Rittenhouse. When Rittenhouse killed them folks, they're like, hey, yay, Rittenhouse, and he's now like a right-wing hero, getting hundreds of thousands of dollars by just showing up and showing off the rifle that he used to kill folks. And they celebrate these guys, and yay. And then something happens to another guy who was sort of like a huge racist, and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, political violence. Shut up. Stop being with the fake outrage. You know, yes, of course it's never cool that somebody has to get killed for whatever reason. I'm going off script a little bit. Not cool for anybody to die. But this is just a me thing. I'm going to piss all kinds of folks off when I say this. But look, the way that you lived your life, you don't get excused just because you die. If you was a racist, you know, white supremacist, evil mofo alive, and then on Monday, and then you died on Tuesday, all your sins don't get washed away because you died on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I don't care whether you're black, white, green, plaid. That's just with anybody. But I digress.
I think the old fashioned saying is don't let one apple ruin the bunch. It is a good way to describe dominant clubs. Are there individuals in dominant clubs that like to cause hell? Yes. Are there individuals in support clubs that like to cause hell? Yes. Are there individuals in motorcycle ministries that enjoy causing hell? Yes. But we don't need to let one apple destroy the whole bunch, because just because that's what that individual does, that doesn't mean that's what that group is about. And a lot of people seem to get that confused these days.
Yeah, no, well said. All right. So the members, another thing. So the way that people think about the members, which I kind of touched on it a little bit. So members of dominant clubs, the fiction would be that's the baddest, butt kickingest, girl chasingest, girl gettingest, you know, money makingest, so and so and so and so, right? That's the fiction of it, right? Oh, and by the way, you had to kill 10 people before you could join the club, right? So that's
it's down to 10 now. It was 20 when I was looking at, weighing my options. 20 was a little excessive. I think I can do 10 though.
The world's getting, everybody's getting a little softer, so it's just 10 now. But
so if I wait a couple years, it'll be down to 5.
But yeah. Well, I don't know what with inflation and all, it might go up to like 7. But the thing is though, is that when you're thinking about the members, the truth of the matter is like this. Them rags, they're not bulletproof. When you put them on, you don't get 6 inches taller, and you can't fly like Superman or nothing else like that. There's an old saying: you can be a smart outcast, or you can be a dumb outcast, but you're going to be one. Make a decision. And the thing is, if you're smart, you're going to get with some of them old gray bearded so-and-sos and let them coach you up a little something. Because like it or not, as a dominant, as a 1%er, you're in a leadership position. And how you do that, how you lead and influence other people, is going to determine your longevity on the set. It really is. And the thing is, here's another one. Here's another crazy one. In order to be in a dominant club, and you're dominant, what I'm talking, we're all alpha males, right? But guess what you got to do? In order to be a good leader, you got to be a good follower. You have to be a good follower, which a lot of folks, it sounds like I'm saying two different things, but I'm not. It's the same thing. Well, if you know, you know.
Members of dominant clubs, they're not allowed to have jobs. They're not allowed to have families.
Right.
The club. How could you? The club bought their motorcycle for them. Therefore, the club owns their motorcycle. If they leave the club still owns their old lady and their kids.
Well, okay. All right. So a little interesting. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Full disclosure. All right. So depending, once upon a time, that was a real thing. Certain places it still is. Like if you left your club, hey, the bike stays. Okay, fine. For whatever reason, however it was that you left the club, that bike ain't going nowhere. I'm not saying that that's everybody or all the time or anything, but that was a thing. You know, them rags you wear, that bike, they stay with the club. Now the old lady, not necessarily, but the bike and them rags, they stay with the club. Once upon a time, the times they are changing, so that's a little bit different. So that's one of those things that sounds like fiction that actually is or has been fact. um, but another thing, what was the other thing you said about the old ladies? Look, there's some partying going on and who's sleeping with who and all like that. That might be some anything. But the thing is, it's not like on the movies where some guy's gonna pull a damn what's his name, Donald Trump, and just grab him by the pussy. That's not like a thing. That's hey, it could happen. It could happen, but the same way it could happen in a bar, right? It's not like it's extra in the
Well, and the
clubhouse.
fact the fact side of that is a lot of people don't realize a lot of your clubs, and we've discussed it. One of the only ways to be out bad is to sleep with your brother's old lady.
Oh yeah, that's a with a quickness, with a quickness. So if everybody's just wife swapping and all this kind of stuff, why would that be one of the quickest ways to get not just put out, but put out bad?
The other thing is a lot of people don't realize how much our lifestyle costs us. And I don't mean costs us like, yeah, we know depending on what we're going to do and depending on the situation we may or may not get ourselves in, it may cost us. We may get into, God forbid, a wreck, or we may be in the wrong place at the wrong time, get hemmed up in some dumb shit. But that could happen to anybody.
Right.
But they don't realize that a lot of your clubs, to be a club member, you have to have an income. You have to have a job. Why? Bikers pay dues. No matter what organization or club you're in, you have dues. Whether it's monthly, whether it's annually, it doesn't matter. Whatever motorcycle organization you're in, there are dues. You can't pay your dues if you ain't got a job.
So check this. My first club, and that's interesting because that's one of those fact or fiction sort of things that kind of mesh a little bit. So in my first club, I had a good job, great job. In my first club, went through some devastating things in my personal life and didn't want to work no more. I had some money saved up, so I had a good cushion for a while. My club was so incredibly there for me. My club would, man, I mean, they showed up and they showed up big. They helped me through an incredibly hard time. I felt I owed them. I felt I owed that club. So I threw myself into the club. Next thing you know, the club was my job. And I paid my bills through the club and everything else. And we had a business and everything else. And that my club prospered. And it was a very regular thing at church. We pass out envelopes. And here's the thing, our dues for this club, this is many years ago, this is before I was in my club now, a lot of years ago. But the club I was in, we reduced our dues to $25 a month. It was more symbolic than anything else because we were making more than that individually. Everybody, not prospects and probates or nothing, but chapter members, they got a check. Or actually not a check, I'm lying. It was all cash, but they all got an envelope with some money in it. But symbolically, everybody had to pay $25. And even in that situation, we had some folks that couldn't pay their bills. They couldn't pay their $25 a month. They couldn't do it on time just because some people are just going to screw up, right? But I digress. I ain't going to call no names. You know who you are, bro. But because you're still a good friend of mine to this very day. But
that's something people don't realize is like a lot of these clubs and even, I mean, tires, oil changes, gas, and especially with your dominant clubs, I've noticed, especially national clubs, your really big clubs. If somebody, God forbid, and it happens, dies, no matter where they're at in the country, that is a mandatory run.
Oh yeah,
And
I
if
just
you
did it.
don't, oh, I know you did. And if you don't make that run, your ass is getting fined. And we're not talking no 10, 15, $25.
Right.
These fines are up there.
It's steep.
So it costs us money to do this life that we enjoy doing.
Right. And you know, let me say this. So in regard to that, now there are, here we go, fact and fiction again. Yeah. So let's say there's a funeral, a brother died somewhere, and you're within that area where you're supposed to go to that funeral, and you don't go to that funeral. Are you necessarily going to have some issues? Well, it depends. Were you in prison? Were you in the hospital? Did you break your leg? Did you wreck your bike? If it's some of those things, then no problem. No problem. You know, you just deal with what you got to deal with. But if it's anything else, we ain't trying to hear that.
So here's a
peel 'em back.
question on that.
Peel them back. It's time to peel them back.
Here's a question on that. And this is, in my opinion, a legitimate question because I've never been anywhere close to being a member of a dominant club. But I have very good friends that are. If that were to arise, like the event that happened a couple weeks ago that y'all had to take care of, and God forbid one of your blood family members passed away in that meantime, where would the club stand on where your loyalty lies at that instance? Because to me, and this is just my opinion, if it was, let's say you, well, you're a little different. So let's say a member of your club that I'm close with passes away because me and you got a different relationship, or my brother, my blood brother passes away, and we know it's a joke, but I'm an outcast member at this point. To me, I owe it to my family to be with my family. However, I also know I owe it to my club to be with my club. So where would the club fall on a situation like that?
Man, that is a good question. So here's the thing. There's a lot of variables to consider, and I hate this answer, but it's just very true. It depends. And what I mean by it depends is your DNA blood brother, he passes away, you need to be there. If your club are your brothers, they're going to understand that. In fact, they might even send one or two with you to make sure that you're good, right? In other circumstances, depending on what the club has going on, they might really need you there. So it depends. It depends on the circumstances. But let's say the number one rule, especially on this level of it, is you watch out for your brother, you take care of your brother, you love your brother. And brotherhood sometimes means understanding when a brother can't be there. You back him up and you help him in every way you can. If it's a financial thing, I've seen this more times than I know how to count. My brother's going through a money thing, boom, you take off the hat, pass it around. Bro's got a fine or some money or some money issues. Man, I'm going through it. I can't pay my dues this month. No problem. Boom. Pass that hat around. Nobody's saying like, give me back next Thursday. No, that's done. But by the same token, you have a responsibility to those brothers to not ever put them in that situation if it's not a real thing. So if a brother says, hey, I got this money thing going on, it's real. It's real because brotherhood dictates that. And a lot of citizens, when we say citizens, we mean civilians, independent riders, people that aren't on the set or, not really in this level of the club stuff. But citizens are something. So in the Marine Corps, that's why a lot of Marines, a lot of military gravitate toward motorcycle clubs because that's one of the few places where you're going to see that level of, in the Marine Corps, we say esprit de corps, but that level of brotherhood and sisterhood, and women got it too,
That's where a lot of these clubs originated.
Oh yeah. So you asked earlier, you were saying something about nomads. What was it that you were asking?
So I've always thought, in my mind, the Nomads, which I'm sure if you've ever been to an event, any big bike event, you've seen somebody with
And
a
douche, that's
Nomad.
exactly what I'm saying, douche. But I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just
Sounds
saying,
like if you've ever been to one of the big bike events, Daytona, Thunder Beach, those are just the ones in my area. I'm Sturgis,
right.
Um, everybody's seen a Nomad patch that's
Mhm.
been to these events. My understanding of a Nomad has always been those are the guys that when they show up, shit's fixing to go down. However, I've also come to know, or at least think, that the Nomads are the ones that they're the retired brothers, not necessarily retired from the club, retired from their active job in the civilian world, to where they have the time to travel the country, check on other chapters, check on other regions, just to, hey, what's going on, make sure everything's kosher, is there anything I can help y'all with, type shit. So what is the fact and fiction behind that?
Okay. So they're doing that again. So once upon a time, um, so I'm going back in the day. We were talking like 50s, 60s, 70s. Nomads, and it did legitimately come from a guy in one area for whatever reason. Man, he had some wanderlust. He always wanted to know what was on the other end of that tank of gas. In fact, that's how a lot of clubs ended up having more than one chapter. So you had a guy who was going to go from here to there because he could do it. That was his lifestyle. He wasn't punching a clock nowhere. He made his money however he made his money, like old drifter cowboy style. But he was associated with his club. He was loyal to his club. Now, as time progressed, those guys that had the ability to do those sort of things, like to travel, get around like that, the clubs learned that, hey, that's kind of convenient to have a guy that nobody knows in that town to go over there and kind of check out some things. We got some brothers in that town. Maybe they got a headache. Maybe they need an extra guy to help them out with something. Send the Nomad. And then guess what? When that Nomad is wrapped up there, hey, maybe he goes south this time. Maybe he goes east. Maybe he goes west. But his whole function was to be available to the club wherever the club needed him to be. So he might be at one chapter for 2, 3, 6 months. He might be there for 3, 4 days. Just depends. But the idea of having a group of mobile individuals who could go from point A to point B whenever the hell they were needed or wanted. In some cases, they go where they want. Some places they go where they're needed. So that's why nomads don't have a state on their bottom rocker. It says nomad, because hey, that's a traveling man. Now, in regard to the nomads showing up and people going, oh shoot, it's the nomads. There's some validity to that, because sometimes there was a problem somewhere that needed addressing, and everybody else for whatever reason needed to stay in Cleveland or Temecula or wherever the hell it was they were, right? But guess what? Who could you send? Nomads. And those nomads aren't necessarily all in the same place. They're from all over. They might be in 10 different states. You put out the word to the nomads, so they're going to come from 10 different states and get together however they get together to go and address whatever needed to be addressed. So yeah, sometimes they would regulate some shit. Sometimes a nomad is just showing up because a chapter needed some help or needed some oversight. They needed somebody to say, what the hell is going on over here? Yo, this is wrong. Let's fix this. And the nomad chapters typically answer to the president or the national cabinet. So nomads are a real thing. I'll tell you a thing I hate though. One thing that just burns my ass up is when I see a nomad patch for a club that don't go nowhere, that don't do nothing, that has zero use for they put that nomad patch on some guy because they thought it was cool, or some guy says, hey, can I be our nomad, and they only have the one chapter and don't leave the county that they live in. now you're playing Sons of Anarchy and stuff. That's corny. It's clownish. So quit doing it. So if you're running around with a nomad patch on your back and you've never left your state, go play in traffic. Go rip that shit off your back. It's stupid.
My personal opinion is, if you're not a national club, 5 states, 5 chapters, 5 states, 5 years,
Right.
right?
Right.
You're not a national club. There is no need for a nomad. Because if all of your chapters, because let's face it, if you're going to expand out of the state you're in, the first thing you're going to do is expand to states that are close by you. You're not going to.
Well, that depends too. But
in my opinion,
that's what happens.
You're not going to be like the Superman riders of Florida and go, we're going to open up one in New York and one in California. Typically, you're going to go, let's hit Georgia and Alabama, see if that works, because that's close enough to home that we can still keep an eye on them.
I hear you, but you would think that. But that's not really it, because the way that chapters expand is, one, like you just said, but there's also, you got, especially like perfect example is military clubs. You got a guy who's stationed at MacDill in Tampa, Florida. He gets orders to Wahiawa, Hawaii, because he's an armor tech. And next thing you know, he's in Hawaii. He's going to be there for 3 freaking years. If his nation gives him hey, go ahead and set up a chapter, we're giving you the approval. Guess what? Now they've got a chapter in Tampa and a chapter in Hawaii, and they're not even remotely close to each other. Then you got, a guy who's working for a job. Yeah, he's with his club, a national club or a dominant club. But his gig takes him from the East Coast to the West Coast. And after he's going to be in certain clubs have it's in their bylaws. If you're more than X number of miles away from the closest chapter, you either have to drop your rags or start a new chapter. So some guys have that option, right? And if he's 2,000 miles away, but depending on the club, because there's clubs who ride like that. Yeah. I know guys who are a member of a certain chapter and don't live nowhere close to that chapter, but they come to church every month. So it depends. So what you're saying is not wrong. It's just not the end all be all.
Well, you know what I'm saying? And what I was getting at is more of like your startup clubs. Mm-hmm. That's why I said anybody that's not a national, you really don't have a reasoning for a nomad chapter. Because if you're a startup club, you're going to be kind of close to home at first, because you're going to want somebody that knows what's going on to oversee that new chapter. Right. But I completely understand what you're saying, especially with military clubs, because let's face it, our military guys, thank you for anybody that's out there in the military. I love what y'all are doing to keep us free and safe. But you never know when they're going to be like, oh, hey, thanks for being at the Naval Air Station in Pensacola. But we need you in fucking Fort Bragg.
Right. Look, and for real, that happens, because remember, a lot of military gravitate toward these clubs. So a guy who joins a club where he's stationed, and then he's not stationary anymore, and he goes home, and he lives 14 states in the other direction, it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for that to happen. But so I'll say, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Here's one that, and I have a specific club in mind, but I'm not going to name them. Is it fact or fiction that there are certain clubs out there that do not wear a diamond simply because their membership includes active military? However, on the set, they are still seen and they act as a diamond club. And okay. I have one club in particular in mind, but like I said, I'm not going to name them.
Okay, well, let me answer that. So you got a couple of different things going on there at the same time. So, and this varies from club to club. Some clubs, you once you join that club, the diamond goes on. If you can't wear it, then you ain't in that club. That's in certain clubs. In certain other clubs that are dominant 1%er clubs, yeah, you might be looked upon. You might be in a dominant club, but you have to earn your diamond. Like my diamond, it wasn't given to me. I had to earn it.
Okay.
And you don't just earn it, you have to keep it. And like there's a saying that you'll hear in certain circles, it's harder to get that diamond. It's harder to keep the diamond than it is to get it. So it depends. And I hate that answer, but it's just very true, because a lot of this stuff, there's a lot of variables, right? So as it relates to wearing the diamond, it's a lot of variables, and it depends. So what you said about the military personnel, some military personnel, and I knew a guy who was a cop and was in a club, wasn't a cop club neither. And he didn't wear the diamond because if it should come to pass that his agency saw it with, like with that, he wasn't wearing it. So, and that's what they were looking for. They saw that diamond. They looked at, oh, you must be a bad guy. So that particular guy did not wear a diamond. Did he earn one? Who the hell knows? Did he wear it? No. So again, a lot of variables. But I'll tell y'all what, man, I think this has been a good little chit chat. But everybody on here, if you didn't do it already, for real, take a minute, do us a solid, hit the like button, and absolutely share this show with everybody, because I promise you somebody's gonna be curious about some of the stuff. Now, look, a lot of y'all, and I know like Heather, she knows her stuff. Carney, dudes, y'all know a lot of this stuff. It's always a good conversation though to kind of chop it up and remember stuff that you might have forgot. But share this information, let folks know. It makes our deal easier. As being in a dominant club, it makes my life easier when folks out there know how everybody's supposed to be moving, So, but other than that, Tate, what, if anything, you want to say to these nice folks tonight?
Thank you for your continued support. We always appreciate the support from those individuals that follow us on a regular basis, and those of y'all that catch up with our show later on when we're not live. Thank you. Another thing is, I love when people see me out in public and they're like, "You're that guy." That actually happened to me this weekend. Threw me for a loop. 8 hours away from home, and somebody knew who I was. They're like, "You're A-Bait Tate." Never met this woman in my life.
I'm glad she did. Crazy. I paid her $32 to do that, so I'm glad she. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, look, I'll tell y'all what. Like Tate said, we definitely appreciate all the support. Y'all keep riding with us, and we're gonna do this again in about another 7 days. But hey, in the meantime, y'all can catch us on social media. All our socials are out there, so catch us on social media. Hit us up if there's a certain thing you want us to chop it up about. Hit us up. Let us know about it. In the meantime, much love and respect. We appreciate y'all very much. And so good night, and thank you for riding with the Big BoneYard tonight, y'all. Watch this. And we're going to hit a button. Bam. Starting over with the motorcycle.
Welcome to the Big BoneYard. Enter at your own risk.
decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.